Chapter 33. Harp Granting Assembly. Master Liu Nian, when we hid between the clouds before, that giant dragon, Ghost Face, how was it that he was able to turn his eyes and discover us? Gu Hai curiously looked at Master Liu Nian. It's me and Shangguan Trace. After we left last time, although we escaped the group of dragons, but our body was left with a trace of dragon's saliva aroma by Ghost Face. It was very light. We didn't care about it. But Ghost Face understood this extremely well and found us instantly. But don't worry, I have a way to eliminate the dragon's saliva aroma from our body. Next time it won't be, Lunar Master solemnly said. Gu Hai nodded and said, Good, let's go back to the city first. I also need to prepare some things for dragon fishing. On the side, Mu Qinfeng and the others revealed a puzzled look. The crowd returned to the city, although Mu Qinfeng no longer followed to participate in the King Granting Conference. But he was extremely curious about Gu Hai's so-called dragon fishing. It had been amongst the attention. Gu Hai didn't hide it from him either. After returning, two things were purchased in large quantities. Cuttlefish, lotus root. Looking at the piles of cuttlefish and piles of lotus root being sent to Gu Hai, Mu Qinfeng was also filled with confusion. Cuttlefish, lotus root. Dragons don't like to eat cuttlefish much less lotus root How can this be fished? Although his heart was filled with curiosity, but Mu Qinfeng was too embarrassed to ask. He himself had already escaped. What face was there to ask? Alas, Mu Qinfeng sighed slightly. Silver Moon City. On top of a mana floating island, Mo Yaika was sitting in front of a bookcase in a small courtyard as a group of information was sent to him. Big Boss Zhong Chanyi stood respectfully at the side. Although he had lost the world's #1 piano building, Mo Yaik did not punish him too much. After all, Zhong Chanyi still had some talent. Any news? Mo Yaik asked in a deep voice. Yes, Mr. Mo. Everyone in the city has been snooping around and finally found out about that group of people. It seems like the leader one is called Sima Changkong, the first one to buy Gu Hai's piano in the first place, Zhong Chanyi respectfully said. Sima Changkong. Mo Yaika steeply narrowed his eyes. Mr. Mo knows about him, Zhong Chanyi said blankly. Mo Yaik's eyes narrowed slightly. How could I not know? The leader of the Sima family's current generation, he actually came to Silver Moon City to poke around. It seems that the situation is a bit of a headache. Does he have a qualification post for the King Granting Conference? Yes, there is. No wonder the old Mana Master opened the harp teaching conference in Silver Moon Sea. So, it turns out to be so. Old Mana Master. In order to preserve Silver Moon Mountain Villa, you've really taken great pains. Mo Yaika sank his face. Sir, do we need to go and take Sima Changkong down quietly? Zhong Chanyi solemnly said. No need. You may not be able to take him down. Moreover, with what he can do, if he hides, it's impossible for you guys to get news of him, yet you found him. Mo Yaik's eyes narrowed slightly and said, Sima Changkong deliberately exposed it. Why? There's nothing why. Sima Changkong is in the open. There must be someone else in the dark. Even if Sima Changkong is captured, there's nothing the other people in the dark can do. But why is he exposing himself? He's showing his sword to me. He's forcing me not to meet him head on. Where he goes, I have to retreat. If he wants to investigate something, I'm not allowed to stop him, Mo Yaika said in a deep voice. Why? Because he is the king's representative, and I am the subject's representative. The identity of the king and subject should be clearly distinguished, otherwise, it would be a great disrespect, Mo Yaik said in a deep voice. We can pretend we don't know. Pretend not to know. It's too easy for you to think. He's reminding me and forcing me to retreat from him. That is, he's pretending that he doesn't know on the surface. But if I don't know how to barge through, He will tear off this layer of disguise and use the king's order against me. So do you think I'm being honorable or disrespectful? Mo Yika said in a deep voice. Zhong Chenya's face sank. He either explicitly or implicitly has people entering the Silver Moon Sea. Our people are likewise doing the same. I won't be going in for this king-granting conference. Mo Yika said in a deep voice. Yes. Inform Ghostface that the dragons are hibernating, and no one is allowed to reveal the sea during the Harp granting conference. The Silver Moon Sea is huge, that place of theirs. As long as they don't make waves themselves, it's hard to find out. Mo Yika said in a deep voice. Yes. 10 days passed in a flash, and the king-granting conference officially began. At this moment, the 4 directions of the Silver Moon Sea had already gathered a large number of cultivators. Many cultivators were unable to participate, but still held a hint of luck. Silver Moon Sea Northern District, Silver Moon Island. At this moment, the fog was filled with fog, and an immortal crane carried one cultivator who had obtained the qualification post to come. At one of the entrances and exits of the Sea Island, authentication entered. Long Wanqing, Shangwen Scar, and Master Liu Nian had already entered. Only Gu Hai arrived late at the entrance and exit. As soon as Gu Hai arrived, some of the nearby Zither masters recognized Gu Hai. Mr. Gu, Master Gu. There was a burst of greetings from the crowd. Gu Hai returned the greetings one by one. Some people who had never seen Gu Hai before cast curious gazes. The Silver Moon Villa's disciples, who were guarding the entrance of the Grand Formation, also knew it was Gu Hai when they saw the crowd addressing Gu Hai. After all, would a crowd of Silver Moon Villa disciples not recognize someone that even the old Villa Master held in high esteem? Moreover, the gazes that each one looked at Gu Hai were extremely kind. While the crowd were presenting their qualification post so that they could enter the big formation, Gu Hai was solemnly saying, "Greetings to all the Silver Moon Mountain Villa's Dao friends. Many thanks to the old Mana Master for allowing me to participate in the Harp granting conference. I wonder how is the old Mana Master's body today." When others came, they asked how the Heaven-grade King Gu Chen was doing. Has Gu Chen come yet? Only Gu Hai came and didn't ask about Gu Chen, but asked about the old Mana Master's body, instantly winning the goodwill of the crowd of Silver Moon Villa disciples. The Mana Master is well. He often recites Mr. Gu's canon and pathos. Today Ma Gu came. The Mana Master must be rejoicing. A Silver Moon Villa disciple laughed. That's good. Gu Hai nodded. With the flow of people, he slowly walked towards the interior. The crowd of Silver Moon Villa disciples indeed did not check Gu Hai's qualification post anymore, and allowed Gu Hai to step in. Stop! A steep light cry rang out. The crowd looked over. However, they saw Fairy Wanna slowly walking towards them. When the crowd of kin masters saw Fairy Wanna, all of them frowned as a wave of discomfort flashed through their eyes. Gu Hai, he hasn't shown his qualification post yet, and you guys are letting him in. Fairy Wanna pointed at Gu Hai and called out. The crowd looked at Fairy Wanna blankly. I've been here for a long time. Earlier a monk, and the first grade hallmaster took Gu Hai's qualification post and went in. Each qualification post has a different mark on it. I've seen it clearly. Gu Hai, he doesn't have a qualification post, and you guys just let him in a grand manner, Fairy Wanna said in a cold voice. How could Master Gu not have a qualification post? Yes, Deminis, don't talk nonsense. The crowd of Zither masters immediately defended Gu Hai angrily. The crowd of Silver Moon Villa disciples frowned slightly and were about to speak, but Gu Hai smiled faintly and said, Fairy Wanna, I can't believe that we meet again. HMPH. Fairy Wanna let out a cold snort. Fairy Wanna, could it be that you think that I, Gu Hai, I am not qualified to enter? Gu Hai smiled at Fairy Wanna and said, Of course you're not qualified. You can't even play the Zither Dao meaning, and there's no qualification post. Why should I let you in? You don't have the zither Dao at all. You can fool others, but not me. I saw through you long ago. Fairywana shouted. What Fairywana said was true. With her bright insight, Fairywana had already seen that Gu Hai didn't have a zither Dao intent. The resentment of being defeated last time was also completely vented out. Last time Gu Hai embarrassed himself. He himself embarrassed Gu Hai once. The crowd looked at Gu Hai suspiciously. Ha 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 ha, Fairywana. This joke is not funny. I know you have a grudge after losing to me last time, but you also find a better reason, or this reason of yours. Guess if everyone believes it or not. Ha ha ha. Gu Hai laughed out loud in a spontaneous manner. The crowd froze slightly. Yes, Demonis, your excuse is too lame. Master Gu doesn't have a zither Dao intention. Are you kidding? If he doesn't have it, how could you lose to Master Gu? Yeah, if Master Gu didn't have the Qin Dao realm, I'd eat this harmonica of mine. You can't even tell a lie, Demonis. Is this your IQ? The crowd was in the middle of counting, and Fairywana was about to vomit blood when she heard it. You bunch of blind people, you can't see it yourselves. What are you blindly up in arms about? Gu Hai opened his mouth again at the right time. Fairywana, I know that you want to hook Chen, but please use the proper way. The old manor master will decide justly and fairly. What's the point of going down this crooked path? So the Demonis is afraid of Gu Hai anymore. That's why she slandered Gu Hai. So it's for Gu Chen. How sinister, Demonis. The crowd of kin masters immediately counted down Fairywana once again. Listening to it, Fairywana was aggrieved beyond measure. I'm telling the truth, okay. At this time, a Silver Moon Villa disciple frowned as he opened his mouth and said, Fairywana, the last time you plotted against the entire city, the owner of the villa made an exception to give you a qualification post, and I still hope that you will cherish it. Obviously, the Silver Moon Villa disciple was also not used to seeing Fairywana do whatever she could in order to get Gu Chen. Mr. Gu, inside please. Another Silver Moon Villa disciple directly led the way for Gu Hai. Fairywana was dumbfounded as she watched Gu Hai enter the grand formation and herself being constantly counted by a group of people. She immediately stomped her foot in anger. Gu Hai, I'm not done with you. Gu Hai, however, walked into the interior without any mental burden for Fairywana. It wasn't enough to get angry with her, although what she said was true. But at this moment, she should be furious. On top of a huge square, Gu Hai and Long Wanqing and the others converged. There were a large number of kin masters around in twos and threes, exchanging pleasantries. To the north of the square, there was a grass hut. Outside the grass hut, there were a large number of Silver Moon Villa disciples standing, and Yun Mo also stood respectfully outside the door of the grass hut, seemingly guarding it. The Gu Chen is in this grass hut. A heaven-level kin. I haven't seen it yet. I wonder what it looks like. The old manor master is also in the middle of the grass hut, isn't he? The crowd around them were talking. Gu Hai and his party, however, were looking for City Lord He. He Shikong hasn't come yet. Long Wanqing shook her head.